But you're very welcome back, as well as co-presenting The Voice of Ireland with the gorgeous Catherine Thomas. Eoghan McDermott is now one of 2FM's biggest stars, taking you home in the evenings on Drive By.
He's here this morning to talk about all the mad stuff going on in his career, as well as a unique event aimed at improving teenagers' health. Eoghan, you're very welcome. Good morning.
Hello. Good morning.
Did we have a late night?
Yes,
he
we
did. I can vouch for that because I saw him in the lobby at, was it 1? Maybe I was past 1 o'clock in the morning.
Perhaps past 1, yes.
That's all right, I was the same.
A good night had by all?
I think so.
Yes, we're talking about the VIP style award.
Yeah, it was lovely. It was great, actually.
But that's the first year you've been at the awards, actually, you were telling me, wasn't it?
Yeah, myself and Michael O'Doherty have had a healthy mutual disdain for each other for many years, and we decided to bury the hatchet this year.
Did you?
We did.
How was that?
Where did you bury the hatchet?
Right in the lobby. And it was lovely. It was a really nice evening, actually, and my girlfriend has lived abroad for years and years, and she's only recently back in the country. We were apart for a long time. We got back together, and she's not in the entertainment industry at all, and so all this stuff, she gets great crack out of it. And it's a terrible thing to say, but you know, when there's bits and bobs on regularly, it kind of becomes normal. Yeah. And she said she'd like to go, and so it's a great excuse, and she got dolled up and she looked beautiful, and we had a great time.
Ah, that's brilliant. And it's all about the style, of course, but it's more about the friends and the fun, everybody having a good time.
Well, it's definitely more about the style for the women, because they, you know, the way in the Oscars they do all the lesser Oscar first, and it leads up to the big one, the actor, actress, director. It's like that as well. You know, when you walk in to where the priorities lie, because the first award they do, best male, right, get that out of the way. It's all about the ladies after that.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
So you're here to talk about Health Fest.
Yes.
And your involvement in the event. Tell us first about the event itself and who it's aimed at and when it's on.
It's on this Wednesday in the RDS, and it's a Dairy Council safe food collaboration, and it's really interesting because we're making this documentary for RTE2 at the moment called Generation What, and we interviewed Simon Harris, Minister for Health, about it, and it's talking about, we talked about loads of things, but one thing we talked about was like introducing to the school curriculum a module or a class or something that will get young people emotionally, mentally, physically ready for just going out in the big bad world.
Okay.
This is primary or secondary or both?
This Health Fest is for transition year students.
Okay, great.
And really teachers as well. And there's like 4,000 people at it last year. And so it's basically a big day-long seminar on, you know, physical wellness, emotional wellness, mental wellness, and just exactly that, like how to set yourself up for life, because no one teaches it to you, I suppose. It comes in drips and drabs.
Yeah, but there's no rule books at all, is there really?
But it's almost a module on life skills.
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
You know, getting yourself ready for what's ahead the next year after you do your Leaving Cert.
Yeah, and so just like easy things, but I suppose like learning about diet, learning about physical well-being, learning about emotional well-being, like how to formulate good friendships and how to realise when something is serving you well or not serving you well, how to remove yourself from situations, just how to deal with...
Well, you know, I mean, this is everyday life skills, really, though, Eoghan, but we're never really taught about it. But what's really coming to the fore, do you not notice this more and more, sorry, I hit the mic there, is that it's kind of mindfulness and wellness and about being able to look after oneself. Oneself, mental health is becoming in the forefront, I think. It's very much out there. Do you not feel the same?
Yeah, absolutely. But I'm good at it.
I'm glad it is.
Yeah, it's brilliant. But even the correlation between... Because there's, you know, I'm speaking kind of more about the mental health side of things, but there's a dietitian there... But I kind of think recently, well, only the last couple of years, it's been blasted at people that what you consume affects how you feel mentally. Yeah. Like, I kind of feel like that's a relatively new message. Like, it seems obvious.
It is with all these kind of superfoods and, you know, that are good for up here as well as your body. Because at that time in your life as well, transition year, when you finish your transition year going into a particularly tough year.
Yeah.
And, you know, sports scientists will tell you that if you prepare well, you know, you'll be in a better state of mind to tackle what's ahead of you. And what's ahead of you are the biggest exams of your scholastic career.
Yeah.
Is that what the festival's looking at? It's about prepping yourself for the exams or for life when you come out of school, or just looking after yourself?
Just kind of looking after yourself. But I think it is, you know, they're doing it with transition year students because up until junior cert, it's very structured learning. Yeah. And then you're kind of making the move to kind of more self-disciplined learning for your Leaving Cert and then heading into college. So I guess it is making that transition.
And in terms of the event itself then on, you're there, as you said, to talk more about mental health, is that right?
Yeah. So I'm an ambassador for Pieta House. Yeah. And and they themselves have launched this thing called the Resilience Academy, and it's kind of a cross-pollination, but I'll take elements of what they're doing and bring it to Healthfest. So
there's two of the things that you mentioned earlier that interest me. First of all, what did Simon Harris say when you brought up that subject about, you know, introducing a module? How did that go down with them? Are there plans for it, or?
Yeah, like I think it's a funny thing because I work with Pieta House, but there's so many, like this Healthfest and loads of different initiatives and other charities. I kind of feel like brilliant organisations and charities have taken the job the state should be doing.
Right, okay.
And because the state's under so much pressure, and, you know, the healthcare system's always going to be underfunded, and Simon has got to, you know, he's got to move money, you know, rob from Simon to pay Paul kind of thing. And I just feel because charities are doing such a great job and organisations are doing such a great job, it takes the push away from the state a little bit.
Yeah, they've almost taken the responsibility from it.
Yeah. What about making the documentary that you're making for RT2? I mean, obviously, the research that goes into that is ferocious, but what feedback have you got from young people and transition students?
Well, this wasn't... The documentary is kind of...
coming out, though,
it's about
isn't it?
millennials, so it's 18 to 34-years-olds.
Right,
so it's not specifically young people. So
but even in that element, though, of mental health, we're coming into... I mean, obviously, transition, your students are, say, 15, 16, and then up to starting at 18. So it's all of that age bracket. I mean, it's very poignant. It's very important as well. That
are they aware of that, though?
Yeah.
Are they aware of the importance of
well-being?
I think it's happening more and more, but I still think that it needs to be introduced at like a state level, you know, that way. But like at least, you know, these kind of things are happening, and we get, you know, if it's the same numbers as last year, it's 4,000 people that will be exposed to something, and then that reverberates out and they talk to their friends, or just if a moment happens.
It's very important.
I'm interested to see how a module would fit into the curriculum. You know what I mean?
I think it'd be great.
Because I do think, just in terms of life skills, like even home economics, I mean, it should be compulsory as far as I'm concerned, particularly for boys.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a really good idea, actually.
Do you know what I mean?
A life skills module.
Did you ever do
that? That's a life skills module,
yeah. I did it
Can you cook?
But how to do a tax return, how to rewire a plug, how to, you know, successfully
how
get
to
rid of
apply
a
for a loan.
Social skills are also really important. That's in there too, right? You know, how to act around certain situations.
Yeah.
You mentioned that because there is certain situations in your life and there's no rule book for it. You know?
Yeah. And as you say, Eoghan, like the appetite is clearly there, because how many people attended this last year? Was it 4,000? 4,000.
4,000.
And they're expecting the same, if not bigger, this year.
Yeah. And we're talking about the kids, obviously, and that's you know, that's brilliant. But also teachers, because I guess teachers a generation ago versus teachers now, it's a completely different field. Like they're more than teachers; they're kind of counselors and mentors. And
of course they are. Both my parents are teachers, so I know from that element that, you know, as that they are definitely, in terms of counsellors, they also help and aid students to do and want what they excel in. And
but you see more of your teachers than you do your family. You're spending most of your week with them.
That ilk of your life, that part of your life, yeah.
Well, listen, we hope it's a raging success to you.
I really do, Eoghan.
And continued success to you.
Pleasure.
You're as busy as a bee.
He's busy, and he's just bought a house, haven't you? Yes.
Yeah, just bought a house.
Oh, dear, it's getting serious now.
He's at the Ideal Homes, buying later on.
Window shopping. I'm poor. I'm very poor.
That'll nurse the hangover out of you soon and quick.
I'm going to go get some Baraka.
Exactly.
Thanks for coming in.
Thanks so much.